talk about our guest today. He is from Chennai. Okay, he has 15 years of banking experiences. Trust me, the knowledge he has about money, from 75 lakhs of debt, he has become an entrepreneur, and he has come out of that 75 lakhs of debt. Okay, he's not only an entrepreneur, he is helping a lot of other people out there. He has taken already 200 seminars or webinars for free to help companies, to help individuals to come out of their bad debt. Okay, if you want to know what is bad debt, what is good debt, this is a live, this is an interview, this is a conversation, you will get to know. Okay, so if you are making 30,000 rupees within 5 years, how to double your income, how to make an investment, this is an interview which you have to follow. And if I talk about his entrepreneurship journey, that is in a whole different level. He is with a debt of 75 lakhs within 8 months of leaving his corporate environment, going into a business entrepreneurship. It was not easy for him. He didn't suddenly become a famous, or suddenly didn't make money. He struggled at first 1.5 years, and that is what we're going to learn from him, how he made it in his entrepreneurship career, and how he is helping all other people in his market, and how he has become expert. He's not a knowledgeable person, he's an expert in his field. How he is walking the talk, this is all we're going to directly learn from him. And one more thing, if I want to tell about him, he has written a book called Untold Secrets of Wealth, which we all required, we all need of the hour at this pandemic. Job, business, shop owners, even if you're a housewife, even if you are restaurant business, you need to hear from him how he can convert the bad debt into a good debt or into a wealth. Okay, so it's an honor, it's a pleasure to welcome Satish Kumar to Ace Peopletainment. Hi Satish, thank you so much taking your time. I know you're giving interviews left, right, article about you, a lot of things are happening. Still, you took time for us. Thank you so much. Welcome on board.
Such a pleasure, Swati. It's such a pleasure to having a conversation with you. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so we're gonna obviously we're gonna talk about your entrepreneurship journey. Before that, before we go into that, I want to understand about money. What is this bad debt? What is this good debt? Is there anything called good debt? Is there anything called bad debt? Can we start the conversation from here?
Money is such an important aspect of our life. We cannot ignore the fact money is. So, what is bad debt? There are certain people, they go beyond their means of living. When that happens, it is bad debt. Debt is not bad. By the way, debt is not bad. Controllable balance debt is actually good. In case that we can leverage debt. Lot of rich and successful people, they leverage debt because leveraging is they access funding with, let's say, X percentage, and they make money in Y percentage. The difference between the X and Y is enormous. So that way they leverage that and they become rich and successful. There are certain people, they take money, they access money, and they don't use that money. So what happens if you don't use that money? Rich people, they expand it. Ordinary people, they don't expand it, they just use this and they don't leverage. It goes as a bad debt. If you are borrowing money, the first thing what you're gonna ask yourself is that, are you going to use it purposefully? If you are putting in a depreciative asset, or if you are putting in a place where you're going to blow it up, it becomes a bad debt to you. If you are going to leverage, the word leverage, making use of the money, good money, then you will make money from this money. That's good debt.
Okay. So one should know how to leverage, and that's where your expertise come
I
into
wanted to
others.
I wanted to give a specific example because I believe in um, explaining concept with stories. It's a real life story. It is not an ordinary story. This has been discussed as a case study in all the tier 1 MBAs. For example, you go to Harvard, you go to MIT, you go to any tier 1 MBA institute. This particular story has been discussed as a case study. So it's not an ordinary life, but it's a real life. His name is Mr. Richard Fuscone. He,
Richard
he was a
Fresco.
Richard Fuscone, yes. So he was a chairman for a Fortune 500 company. The company name, I don't want to pick up the name. Okay, Merrill Lynch. It's okay. So he was a chairman, and during 2008, he got retired. And in 2010, all of a surprise, he declared himself as bankrupt. You understand, because if you are chairman of a Fortune 500 company, what kind of an earning you will have, what kind of a compensation you will have, you will be one of the richest 1% in the world. Because if you look at the money distribution, the top CEOs, they occupy the top 1%. So from top 1%, he declared himself as completely bankrupt. That shook the world because he was working in a financial services company. He himself is an expert. He himself is a investment banker. Bad debts. What happened in his life in 2008? He put all his money into a real estate. After retirement, he broke the golden rule of a retirement because once you retire, you should not be having any debts. You should not be servicing EMIs. You should not be having any debts. But he was servicing an EMI of $66,000 monthly. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you are breaking the discipline of finance, it it comes down like a pack of cards. So that's the power of money. You can be nobody, you can be someone ordinary, but you are building your blocks with a foundation of finance, you will definitely reach the level of the pinnacle. So that's
You
about
can become
bad debt.
rich.
It
Doesn't
is easy.
matter if you're ordinary person, if you have the financial discipline, you can become rich.
It
So that's
Yes, it
a
all.
good thing to know, because pandemic, a lot of business are out of business and they are coming up now. So whoever is hearing it, it's a pleasure to hear this. So you founded a company called Wealth Creating Company, and before that you worked in a corporate for 15 years. How was the transformation happen? I want to know what was that one trigger point which you left 15 years of comfortable, rich money you're getting from the corporate, and you went out of it to start from the scratch.
Yes. So I was very comfortable when I was with the corporate because I was doing good for myself and contributing constructively for the company. So it's all happening good. But one thing in my life was missing. I found in a self reflection, I found that one thing I was missing in the life, which was freedom. Freedom to do what I want, when I want, how I want. That was missing in my life. So I don't wanted to wait till my retirement and complete it. So I thought, okay, that would be a good point in time to pursue what I want to do, when I wanted to, how I wanted to do. So that was the thought process of leaving the corporate job and taking something else in my career. So that was the point
So
that I started business.
the freedom, having freedom is what triggered you to go into an entrepreneurship. Okay, so once you started the business, or start up your company called Creating Wealth Company,
Yes.
what was your journey for first 1 year? Because I know how it is very painful to build from zero to reach the level you are right now today. I want you to tell your journey of your business for the first year of your business.
So I can actually distribute into three different stages of my business. The first 1.5 years, I would say, the most painful period. The everyone will go through something called the lowest point in their life. So that I touched that the lowest point in the first 1.5 years after quitting my career and starting off of a business. Because I thought when I open my shop, when I start the business, I thought if I say to the world that, look, I'm into this profession, and if you want that particular product, I can help you in exchanging that product. But that did not happen. I thought business was easy thing because that was I was doing with a brand called an MNC Citibank. After leaving that brand, when I started something with my own personal branding of Satish Kumar, it's not that easy. When I wanted to take appointments, I am not getting appointments. In fact, I had around 4,000 contacts in my mobile phone. I entire 4,000 people knew that I am into that business, and they were buying those products. 50%, 60% of people were buying that product, but they are not buying it from me. They are buying elsewhere. So, to my understanding, business is easy as well as business is extremely difficult. If you learn the ropes, if you learn the tricks of the trade, business is extremely easy, like the way I'm doing right now. But if you does not understand the business, it is extremely difficult. What two things I understood from business is: number one, sales is the most important aspect, is engine of business. If that's not going to happen, you will not have cash flows, you will not have profits, you will not have revenues. So sales has to happen. Sales is not selling the product, it is helping out the people. For the first 1.5 years, I was informing my people that, look, I am into this business. If you wanted to buy, I can help you in buying the product. That was a transaction I was doing, but that's not working out. What I shifted from the paradigm from sales to helping people. My understanding about business is sales is not selling a product, sales is all about helping out people. So I started helping out people in their personal finance, in their wealth management, in building their corpus. So investment. I started giving recommendation. I started giving advisory. I started conducting programs for free without any expectation of people coming back to me as a customer. I genuinely started helping out. That is the moment that I started writing blogs. Till now, you could able to see there are 150 blogs are there in my websites. satishspeaks.com, SATHISHSPEAKS.com. It's my personal website. You can go check out. There are a lot of values, lot of content you can access, and you can benefit out of it. You can tremendously increase your personal finance. I started offering it to people for free without even any expectation of coming back to me as a customer, and that worked. When I help the people, when they see that, okay, I am helping them out, they started coming back to me with some queries, and then the relationship started. And today, they are my super fans. I would say super fan because if they are happy, there are levels of customers. First, he is a customer, he will test it out. Second, he will be a client, he will come back and buy more and more from you. Third level, he will actually give word of references for you. Fourth level, he will work for your business. The customer contributes for his business, spending his time and effort and energy. I can able to see there are customers whom I am working with currently. They actually go ahead and give promotions for me for free. I have clients like that. So helping out people is what sales is all about. That is what I started doing through blogging, through workshops. I have conducted so far 150 personal in-person workshops. I conducted in Chennai, Trichy, Madurai, Salem, Coimbatore. These are the cities in Tamil Nadu. Conducted is for free. Mostly, 98% of my workshops, that are basic workshops, can get tremendous input content on how you can streamline your personal finance. That was free. And so far, I would have conducted 50 workshops on wealth creation. That is also for free. So that helped. That's number one. Number two is business is all about solving a problem. Business is not money making. Business is definitely not money making. It is all about solving a problem. The bigger the solution you provide, the solving the problem, the more the money you will get out from the business. So I started helping out people who were having complex problems when it comes to money matters. So I know certain people they made huge losses in stock market. They have that money, but they are not making the good returns from mutual funds or stock market. I started solving their problems, and they keep coming back to me. So these two things really helped me to in order to scale up my business, and that that was the starting point of my business, and then it starts happening.
Okay. The first 1.5 years, you explained beautifully that you offered free services. You wrote many blogs, you traveled many cities and helped solving their problems. You said sales is nothing but solving the problems of others, so that through your expertise, so that they can be part of your business, and one day they will work for your business. They will refer a lot of people into your business. Beautifully put it. So here I have a question, because I'm in that stage of creating from scratch, 6-7 months into the business. So this was my exactly thought process. I initially offered free services, but this is India. First of all, making them believe that I can deliver a service was my first challenge. Second challenge was when I offered free services, my product was taken so lightly. So how I can, as an entrepreneur, or the people who are watching, even it happens in restaurant business, even it happens in the digital marketing area. So how we can solve this, how we can come out of this mentality, like if I offer something free, in India especially, people are taking it for lightly, or they are taking it for granted. So how, you might have also faced the same thing, so how you come out of it?
Trust me, Swati, this always happens. I have a community. In my community, let's say that I regularly talk, I provide value, and I give content to people on personal finance, wealth management, almost to 20,000 people. On that, always 80 percentage of the people are not serious about what they want. So they will continue to access your content, but they are not action takers. They are not your target market. Leave them. If you have a community, 80 percentage of the community they access, but they don't take any action. But they are like that. Community building is like that. So we should not feeling bad about that. So that's how people are. 80% of the people, they won't take action. They simply access. They wanted to keep that knowledge, but they themselves would not be using that knowledge. That was the bad thing. I know people, they attend seminar after seminar after seminar, but they would have asked one simple question: have you made any investments? What's your experience? And have you made any money out of that? Satish, no, my salary is right now 75,000. The moment it hits 1 lakh rupees, then I will start this investments. Then I will start the process of whatever you are. And that day will never come, because that everything can happen from 500 rupees. Even if you go to a movie, you have to spend 1,000 rupees for a family. Even
Yes.
that investment can start with 1,000 rupees, but they don't have that mindset. They are not action takers. So leave them the 80 percentage. Let's come to the 20 percentage. So the 20 percentage they are watching now, and believe me, 16 percentage of the 20 percentage, they wanted to take your knowledge and they wanted to benefit in their own way. So they want to come as a paying clients for you. They wanted to do that. But if you are consistently offering them value, and they are saying some kind of a paradigm shift from the knowledge what you are offering, then they will definitely consider of onboarding as a paying client. And the 4 percentage of the people, they will always be searching for such an experts. So the moment they see the content, even with the one particular content, even with the one particular information, they will right away come on board. So what is more important for the budding entrepreneurs? I would be saying that building a community without any expectation. So 80% of the community will be like that. 16% of the people, they still access, they take your advice, they take your content, but they won't come on board immediately. But trust me, they will definitely come on board if they see the difference. if they use your content and if they feel that valuable, that the shift is happening for themselves, they will definitely come on board because they wanted benefit from you. So that is what the piece of recommendation I have for you.
Wow. Creating the community without expectation is the answer. I got it. So I will continue do so. Okay, so let's talk about your books, Untold Secrets of Wealth. How it happened. Yeah, I will buy that book if I want to rich.
It is
So
there in Flipkart and Amazon. Yes.
Flipkart and Amazon. Okay, great. So I will put the description also, guys. If you have any questions, whoever watching this live, if you have any questions about you have a loan, you have a less salary, and all this kind of financial expectations from you within yourself, you can put that question here. He will be able to answer. He is not that easily to available for you after this interview, so make full use of him. So go and buy his book in Amazon or Flipkart, which is Untold Secrets of Wealth, because it's written by an Indian, right? We read a lot of wealth books from other foreign authors. Why not? I'm building a website. I was searching for an Indians to build my website. So that is what we contribute towards India, correct? So go and read books. And what I want to ask you, Satish, like how it happened, Untold Secrets of Wealth, the book.
So we live. I mean, this society is very strange. I will tell you why I say it's strange
Humans
because
are strange.
we spend right from, let's say, from 10 years of the age till 60 years. What we do, we graduate from 6th standard to 12th standard. Why we study from 6th to 6th? Not to get a good education in college, and after college we want a good job, and after job we want promotion, after promotions we want house, car, and we spend from age 10 to age 60, we spend 50-60 percentage of our life to make money. It is very simple. We spend 50 percentage of our life to make money, but how capable we are to manage and multiply that money. There are
Zero.
examples, countless examples, that the lottery winners, they get a huge amount of money and they come back to the street in 5 years to the same level. I personally, there are countless examples. The winning a crorepati, kaun banega crorepati, that person won 5 crore rupees. After 4 years he came back to the street after losing all the 5 crore rupees. So managing and multiplying money is a science and art, and it has never been taught in our school, in our college, and within the family. I never had any discussion with my father about managing and multiplying money concepts, till the age of
Multiply
23.
itself, it's a very distant knowledge. We don't know how to even handle money.
Managing and multiplying, you're exactly right. So that struck me hard because that is what most important to us, because we spend so much of time in our life to make, but managing and multiplying, we don't do that. And my book, this just rupees 100. If you sit for 1.5 hours, you will get everything how you can manage your personal finance and build it. Life is all about simple things. With such a simple concept, if you start following it regularly in your life, you will create wonders. Whoever has made wealth, they exactly followed the strategies I put it in this particular book, the technique and strategies. Extremely simple to manage and multiply money. All I want you to grab a copy, get it for yourself. That was the
Sure.
thought process behind writing this book.
I was surprised. Like the book cost is 100 rupees, because comparing to your hard work since last 15 years and then becoming an entrepreneur, losing so much money into the business, and lot of ups and downs, and you put everything into one book and you're selling it for 100 rupees. I can see the intent behind it. It is a sole purpose of helping others.
helping
Absolutely
others.
fantastic. Thank you so much for writing these kind of books, and I hope in the future many books we can expect from you in a different level. Okay, so next question I want to talk about is like, what are your future projects like? How wealth creating company is doing? What is the future of your company? How you gonna help the society more?
I have a dream. By 2025, I have a certain number of people that I wanted to help contribute in order for them. They have to personally reach that financial goals dream, because everyone have two important financial goals in their life, which is non-negotiable. You cannot negotiate with that. But unfortunately, 80% of the people are, they continue to work even after the retirement. That is so disappointing, very pathetic situation. 80%. If you see that people are happily retiring and they are resting and relaxing at their homes, you are seeing only 20% of the people, 20% of such people, 80% of people, even they continue to work after the retirement. That needs to be changed. So those are the two non-negotiable financial dreams I want them to achieve or put the journey across to that. That's number one. Number two, if you wanted to transform your country, if anything that India have to, currently it is the fifth biggest contributor in the world, fifth biggest country in the world. So if India have to move up in the ladder, that can happen only if more and more people coming into entrepreneurship and contributing. So we were actually following that culture of entrepreneurship, but in the last 200 years, that culture has been demolished completely. I'm not saying that everyone is made for entrepreneur. No, definitely not. But there are people that who wanted to come become an entrepreneur, but they are missing that. They don't get that platform. They don't get that environment. They don't get that ecosystem. Something stopping them. So I wanted to contribute for such people and help them in onboarding to entrepreneurship if they want. So that's number two. Number three, there are many local vendors, local businessmen. Even if you contribute 10,000 rupees in the way of reshaping their business, contributing something to their business, their life changes. Think about this. Someone is actually selling vegetables in the road. If you are helping them with some kind of infrastructure so that they can comfortably, conducively do that, because they sit and they sell it for 12 hours to 14 hours every single day, and then they have to go procure in the market and come back. So they spend only 8 hours in the day. They sleep only 4 or 4.5 hours every single day. So with a very small amount of money at 5 or 10,000 rupees, you can able to contribute to large volume of people. It is transformation in their lives. So that is the dream project. It just started, so working towards it. It's a long shot, but the first two things are already happening right now. Only thing is that the magnitude has to happen the way it's happening right now.
Okay, so that's a great vision to have. All the best to you. And my next question is, say, example, I am a salary person or I'm a business person. My income is 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees per month. So maybe average amount is 35 to 1 lakh rupees in a month. If I'm a salaried person, what would be your one advice in terms of finance, in terms of taking care of my money?
If so, I would like to recall a conversation what was happening between the number one richest person and the number five richest person in the world. Jeff Bezos is the number one richest person, and currently number five, Warren Buffett. He is considered as a legend in personal finance. He is my I love that guy because of whatever he has done for himself. From just a newspaper vendor boy today, he has done tremendously. So Bezos, Jeff Bezos asked Mr. Buffett, so what is one regret you have in your life? You know what he has mentioned? He started investing in stock market at the age of 11. And he said, I should have started little more earlier. That means the biggest regret is he should have started little more earlier, means he is losing out the compounding power. Even in my life, if you say that, okay, what would be the biggest regret I have in 15 years of my corporate life is that I could have probably contributed more towards my investment than the consumption. I didn't strike the right balance. So my request to all of the youngsters, the millennials who are watching this particular live or this video, start saving more for yourself, because it is freedom. Money offers freedom. Wealth sets you free. It gives you choices. It gives you freedom, because if you are putting into a gadget, if you are spending that money, blowing it out, definitely you are going to regret it at one point in time after realizing that, okay, I could have done something different. But I'm telling you from my own experience and the experience, the life lessons from the legendaries, start saving for yourself, whatever possible. That could be 30%, that could be 40%. The rule is, if you are a salaried person or if you are a business person, the rule is 50, 30, 20. All your expenses, that could be entertainment, that could be household, that could be everything, it should come within 50% of your salary. If your earning is 1 lakh after tax, the net take home is 1 lakh rupees, not exceeding 50,000 rupees, inclusive of your EMIs and other stuff. The 30% that goes to um, savings, and 20% it is for yourself. Pay yourself first. That is for your retirement and for your long term goals. So 50, 30, 20, and that is the bucket list. When you follow this, probably that you will be end up saving more for yourself.
Okay. So, if you are a job person, so you have to follow this 50-30-20 rule. I have a question. What about entrepreneurs, like startup owners, who has just started the business, and then, or 1 year in the business, they had to spend money towards their business, say example marketing, nowadays digital marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, or networking, so they have to spend a lot of money on that part as well. So how an entrepreneur can manage, or how a startup owner can plan around this?
Obviously, job, the people under working in an employment or business owners are completely different, because in employment you trade your time for money. So you know how much is exactly coming to you at the end of the month, you can plan. But entrepreneurship is not like that. You have freedom, but the freedom comes with a price. You don't know exactly how much is going to come. So that is the uncertainty, is part and parcel of business always. But if you look at any rich and successful mm, people, investment assets, 50 to 60 percentage of their net worth is with the business, investment as business. So I won't say it is a wrong thing to put all your money into business, but look at anybody. Look, take Mukesh Ambani, take Mr. Narayana Murthy, you take the top five, just Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, anybody. 50 to 60 percentage of their net assets are with business, and then 12 to 15 percentage are in the financial assets, and then around 10% with real estate assets, and then commodities like gold, and then charities. So that is how their financial net worth has been distributed. 50% can be in business. Once you establish that business to certain level, start diversifying it. Don't put more and more and more, because I personally know the margin you get out of the business is enormous. But for the sake of diversification, once you reach a level, you have a surplus, you add for this financial assets and then for commodities. So that is how you can create wealth for yourself. But I understand, first 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, put all your money into that building engine, build it. Once you reach the level of balance, then probably you can build assets.
Okay, so it's different for entrepreneurs. So first 1.5 years, we need to be careful where we spend money. So obviously, I am proud of myself is I thanks to pandemic I cut down all the traveling this year, and I put that money into my business, in website development, in marketing, in creating a digital marketing team. So a little bit I'm proud of me, because traveling is something we always spend money, but I cut down that cost and put it in my business. So thank you for teaching us about, if you're a salary person, how you have to follow this 50-30-20 rule. If you're an entrepreneur or startup owner, how you have to create surplus. Okay, so now I want to talk about your mentor, because after leaving your comfort zone of 15 years, coming into a ground, starting from the scratch, I think you must have had your mentor, not only Warren Buffett. Who is your mentor on the ground, who's helping you or mentoring you in this journey?
I have three types of mentors. The first type of mentor who helps me in giving the right mindset and the do and don'ts of business, about just business. The second mentor is the business I particularly operate into, the financial services, the investment banking. In that particular field, that mentors are not my physical mentors. I have two mentors. I follow them personally. I follow them all their principles. I follow their strategies, techniques. I learned so much of them. Those two people they are legendary investors. Um, Mr. Rakesh Junjunwala, he is fondly called as Warren Buffett of India.
India.
From 5,000 rupees, today his net worth is 20,000 crore. And there are certain strategies, there are certain principles in his life, how he made that enormous money. I'm telling you, 0.04 percentage of the people has this kind of. There is a website. If you know your network, you put that network and you check what percentage you belong in the world in terms of network. You can see that. So he is 0.04, because from literally ordinary a person from 5,000 rupees, 20,000 crore, enormous. And Mr. Ramdeo Agarwal is a co-founder of a firm by name Motilal Oswal. There are strategies, techniques. The content today, we are living in a digital world. Luckily, the content is not a closed content. Everything is accessible. You want algorithm, it is already there. You want strategies, it's already there. All you have to do is put your time, put your effort, put your energy to learn it in the right way. That's all. So those two people are my mentors. I'm learning all the strategies. I watch their videos. I take all the principles, strategies they have adopted when they were actually learning from them, and that is helping me. And that way, I'm helping my investors, my clients as.
Wow. Rightly said. We are, thank God we are in this digital era, because 10-12 years back we don't know what Warren Buffett was doing, but today we know. Even he goes out for a walk, we know that he is out. So that kind of open environment, now we can learn from expertise from all over the world, rightly put it. Thank you so much for your patience answering all our questions, and looking forward to talk to you more and more. Maybe we can do the same interview in Tamil one day. For Tamil
It's a
audiences,
pleasure, yes.
especially Bangalore, Delhi, Coimbatore, and Chennai. Um, anything you want to say? And I think I have no questions to ask you online. Maybe offline, I will reach out to you for your expertise.
Stay blessed, have fun.
Save money, have fun.
Stay
What
blessed,
did you?
have fun. Stay
Okay.
blessed.
Stay. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you so much, Satish, for coming online with us. It's wonderful talking to you. Looking forward more connection with you. Obviously, I want to be a part of your community as well. It's a pleasure talking to you. Have a good evening. Thanks.